Thank you. So now it's time to have some few very pearl-like words from our president, Danaya, who always encourages us to learn and grow. So I would like to invite Coach Dr. Danaya to share her few words with us and her welcome speech.
Thank you, Nam. I just like to say welcome and thank you for all the coaches that you volunteer yourself to our educators. So have them have this experience working with the professional coach and benefit from the coaching relationship. So welcome and thank you for your time. Back to you, Nam. Thank you.
So much, Coach Dr. Danaya. Now I would like to introduce our Social Impact Director of ICF Bangkok Charter Chapter, Coach Hongyu Kimpan, and I'd like to request to share a few of very crucial words from you for us, please.
Yes, thank you, Coach Sapnam. Welcome, ICF volunteer coaches, into this program. We are very pleased to have you. Even it's small member, but remember that a small step can make a big difference in our society. And this aims to, ICF Bangkok Chapter aims to lead this program for the first time. It's just the first step, and we have you to make the ripple effect. So thank you very much, and together we will move the world forward, supporting empower educators in our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Coach Hyung, and really I agree with you. We are the coaches, the change initiators. So we are very lucky to be here. Now, I would like to request our coach, Hercules Mendez, the ICF Bangkok Charter Social Impact Committee member. Please share your valuable words and the process of our session with all of our coaches.
Sure. Thank you so much, Coach Sabnam. So on behalf of the social impact team of the ICF Bangkok Charter Chapter, I'd like to just say a very warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for your time for being here. And as Coach Hong Yok said, this is the first time that we're trying to run a pro bono coaching project in the English medium. And so this is new for us. It's a learning curve for us, but this is hopefully something that we want to maintain and to build. So this would not be possible without all of your support. So really with a lot of gratitude, thank you so much for helping us make this happen and for giving a chance for the educators who are in Thailand, who are more comfortable in English, to have a chance to be coached as well. A little bit of background about the project. So the project came about because, in the past couple of years, we've seen that with COVID, and with parents' expectations, we've seen a lot of changes in a lot of different industries. And teachers and educators and support staff is one of those industries that is changing. And what we noticed is that, teachers are not just responsible anymore for the academic performance of students, but what happens is that they have a lot of expectations, from the school, from parents, to not only look at academics of the kids, but also their mental well-being, their emotional well-being, their psychological well-being. Like you will have parents asking teachers, what kind of, how's my child settling in school socially? Are they able to make friends? Are they able to deal with certain issues that come their way? And so we see this added responsibility on teachers. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to create a space for them to unpack what's going on in their lives, because other than being teachers, they are also responsible for their own children, their own families, their own personal lives. So this aim came about because we wanted to create the space for them to be able to share what's going on with them, either professionally or personally, if there are doubts that they're dealing with, if they're limiting beliefs that they're dealing with, so that they can show up in a clearer headspace and take that and bring it to their students so that they are able to more intrinsically help their students. So that's a little bit of background about how the project came about. Now, I'll take you through the working framework of this project, so what exactly it entails, and then I will put together little bits and pieces of the project so that you can get like a full bird's eye view of the project. So working framework is after today's orientation, the coachees will also have their orientation tomorrow at the same time, in which they will get details of the project as well. So after today's orientation, what I will do is I will be sending you your coachees' details, so their name, their email number, and their email address and their telephone number so that you can contact them. But please contact them after 1 p.m. tomorrow, because it would be better if they've gone through the orientation and they also know a little bit of what to expect. And then we set the coaching period from July 25th up until about September 7th. So it gives us a period of 6 weeks where you can then fix a time that works for the coachee. So we're looking at doing a minimum of, well, we're looking at doing 3 sessions. If you would like to do more, then that's up to you, but we're looking at doing 3 sessions, and that's what the coachee has been told. So that's the basic timeline that we're looking at. So by the first week of September, we're looking to wrap up the coaching sessions. Very, very important is the coaching agreement. So after this orientation, I will be emailing a sample of the ICF coaching agreement in case you would like to use that in creating your coaching agreement with the coachee. If you already have an existing form of a coaching agreement and you can adapt that to the pro bono coaching, that's also okay. But the most important is that the client knows that it's a safe space and that we as coaches are bound by the ethics, and that we will not, we will help them to maintain their confidentiality so that they have that confidence in sharing with us as well. So the coaching agreement, you do not need to send it back to us, but it's something that you will keep for yourself. Please make sure that before the coaching sessions start, that the coachee has signed it and has returned it to you. That's the most important. Yeah. Okay, so that's coaching agreement, confidentiality. Now, what I will do is that for this project, we have coaching journals. Okay, so we have a pre-coaching journal, a during coaching journal, and we have a post-coaching journal as well. So there's 3 phases of the journals. I will take you through the journals very briefly right now, but the point of the journal is that we want to use it as a value-added tool in order to help the coachee to reflect. You know, sometimes after a coaching session, while they're jotting down their notes, they may think of something. It will lead them to have more awareness or a different perspective, or I didn't think of that during the coaching session. So we want to introduce this tool as a value-added tool that we encourage them to use. They are not bound to do it, so it's their choice. If they want to do it, they can, but we would like to encourage them that, you know, we feel that it will be of benefit to you even after the coaching session. So we encourage you to please even just jot down like a few words. Now, another thing is that these coaching journals do not have to be shared with the coach if the coachee does not want. So it's basically a tool for them. And at the end of the coaching sessions, they don't have to hand in the coaching journal to you or to any of us. So it's literally a tool for them. So they can be as open as they want. The point of it is just to be able to allow them that space to reflect through the questions. So I'd like to share my screen now and take you through the different journals, and then we can go through questions a little bit later. Okay, so this is the pre-coaching journal. So this would happen before the first session of the coaching. And this basically will help them to think about the kind of things that they might want to be coached on, or what they would like to get out of the coaching sessions. So a very simple question. So what are the potential issues, that they could raise during the coaching sessions? How are the issues impacting their life currently? So if they have like a personal issue, if they have a work issue, if they have a self-doubt, a limiting belief, a goal that they're working towards. So how do these issues impact their life currently? How do they feel on most days? Are they feeling confident? Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they feeling frustrated? And then what would be helpful to achieve at the end of the coaching sessions over the next few weeks? So what would they like to see? What is that change, or what is that goal that they would like to see at the end of the coaching sessions? And what impact would it have on their life, so that they can start to look at the bigger picture of what they would like to achieve through these sessions? Okay, so that is the pre-coaching journal. The during coaching journal, so this is the same format, and they can do this after each coaching session. So they would put the coaching session number and the coaching date. And just briefly write about, how are they feeling after the coaching session? Are they feeling lighter? Are they feeling, do they have more clarity? Do they have more awareness? Do they have more understanding? What are they walking away with at the end of the session? How different is the feeling, or how similar is the feeling as compared to before they started the session, so that they can record that. And this is very important. What are the major takeaways or insights? So, I think after the coaching sessions, we all go back to life. We go back to our responsibilities, our work, our families, our children. But this is just a safe space for them just to write down what are their major takeaways, so that in the future, when they come back to this and they look at it, they'll be like, oh, I remember feeling overwhelmed with this, and as I was coached, I remember that this is what had come out of it. So maybe even later, they can come back to these documents and look at them. What are the potential impacts of the key takeaways? Now that they have this awareness or this clarity, what is it that they're getting? How does that impact their life? Are there any takeaways or insights that are useful to remind themselves of, and how will they do this so that they don't forget? Are there any actions or changes that need to be implemented, and when and how? So this is to create that accountability piece for them, so that it's not just I've had the coaching session and now I'm done, but we're helping them to build accountability. And then we look at the post-coaching sessions. So this journal basically will help them to record the overall impact of the cumulative coaching sessions in their lives. So basically, what's the overall impact of these sessions? How did they affect? What difference did they make? Has there been any growth or development in any areas? In which ones in particular? And how can they be maintained and enhanced even after the coaching sessions with you coaches are over? Looking back, if they look back today, were they able to achieve what they wanted to in the coaching sessions? So maybe they thought that this is what they wanted to achieve. Were they able to achieve that? How much did it exceed what they expected? Was it a bit less than what they expected? Was it in a different direction from what they expected as well, right? And what's possible for them now? So having been coached, what do they feel is possible for them right now? So these are the 3 journals that you will be emailed, and that's it. So journals are done, framework is done. Just the last bit for me, if you are not able to contact your coachees, please reach out to me directly. You have my email. You can email the social impact team. Some of you have my mobile number as well. So please feel free to reach out to me, and then I will help you figure that out. So I think that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Coach Bharti, for sharing these information and clarifying the program, as well as the journals and framework. We are eagerly waiting for your email, as for all the participants, I can believe. So now I would like to invite our master coach, Coach Fernando, and you all know that he is the founder and chief strategist of Ignite Global. As a CEO, he ensured his organization is very keen and passionate to develop positive synergy among the individual, team, and organization. So today we have the great presence of Coach Fernando, and we would like to know more about ICF core of ethics, core competence, and I believe, as like me, to all of you are eagerly waiting for him. So now I'm inviting Coach Fernando.
Thank you, Sabnam. Appreciate very much. And Sawadee Khop, coaches. Wonderful to see all of you. Good morning. I would like to first of all thank ICF Bangkok chapter leadership team for being so visionary and looking at what is happening in the world, and also recognizing the importance of how we empower our generations to come. And I also would like to thank Bharati. I have known Bharati for a while, and I know this is your passion as well to bring coaching to education. And I take my hats off to you and to ICF Bangkok chapter for truly pushing this agenda forward, because it is absolutely relevant and valuable. And the reason why I say so is because every educator I have met who has gained some coaching skills and used those coaching skills in the educational environment has found it to be immensely valuable. Our educators are empowered, and we all can be empowered as we continue this journey. And I believe coaching skills will bring a lot of empowerment to all of us, and especially educators, and then the children that they work with. So having said that, it's such a wonderful privilege to be here. And I deeply appreciate that you're having me here, and you are here on a Friday morning. You must be busy, but you are here. That means that you truly have this essence in you, intending to create positive development in the world selflessly. So I deeply appreciate all of your presence here, and we are increasing our vibrations, being in this room, being intentional to create positive development in the world. I invite you to think about it like this. Imagine one of the educators that you work with become empowered and inspired through this process. And this educator walks into his or her classroom, and then there's this beautiful child, young child, who is going to be the next Mother Teresa, or who is going to be next Elon Musk, who is going to be next Mahatma Gandhi, right? This educator will empower one of those students, and they will go on to change the world. We wouldn't even know that we have been a catalyst of that development. So I once again welcome all of you. Thank you for the opportunity. So I will dive into this session today. What I'm going to do is invite you to look at 3 different coaching situations that I have seen. Often coaches are not fully aware how to work around, which can create amazing value, maximum value for our clients. And also, if you allow me to share my presentation, I named it a little bit differently. I thought, let's talk about MCC skills today. I have been on a journey of acquiring my credential recently, so I have been on a journey of discovering MCC skills. And through my journey, what I found out is that MC skills are not rocket science. They are very much doable, tangible competencies and skills. It's just that sometimes we are not aware. So let's try to build some awareness today. Before we begin that, I invite all of you to bring your hands out and increase our physical energy. So I usually, before start a session like this or address a keynote speech or something like that, I do monkey business. What I mean by that is shaking myself really hard. Increase the energy of your physical energy. Let's do that. Okay, hold on. Now, next time when you do that, I invite you to scream inside your head, like a gorilla, like an ape is about to fight, right? In your head. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Good. Good. How do you feel? I hope you're feeling good. You know, when 2 apes are about to fight, what do? They hit their chest. That's exactly what we did. What we do is we get the adrenaline running. We prepare our body to be fully present to this moment. That's what we have just done. I see that all of you are smiling. That means it's working, right? So I invite you to try it out. Right. So here comes your very first situation. I'll share the situation with you. Then I invite you to work on this little question for a minute or minute maybe, and then share your thoughts. If you feel comfortable speaking, turn on your microphone and speak. If you feel typing in, just type it in the chat room and send it in. Right. So let's look at a couple of, what are we doing today? We are going to look at 3 coaching situations and debrief it. And then we will answer any questions related to coaching competencies and also questions related to ICF ethical guidelines. So let me introduce you to my friend Sam here. Sam is saying, I want to lose 5 kilograms in 3 months. And you are Sam's coach. You are right in front of Sam. And if you help Sam to create a goal, what kind of goal would you come up with? Let's create a quick, short goal to address Sam's situation. Sorry for that. Sam's situation. And what would be the goal you would come up with? Let's say if you work with Sam, what would be the goal you would come up with? And he says, get out of the wheelchair. Amazing. Very good. If you already have something in your mind, come forward, coaches. Let's make it interactive. Let's make it collaborative. What kind of goal would you help the client to set up? So let's not explain the goal, read it out. There is no right or wrong way of doing this, okay? Take it easy. We can only think of how can we do better, not right or wrong.
Maybe become a championship in Wimbledon.
Become a championship?
In Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. Oh, that's
Because
cool.
he plays. Yes.
So you help the client to go from up there. Amazing. Great, Coach Dew. Wonderful. Okay, so we have give him the great important space to explore why he would like lose the weight. Okay. Thank you, Coach Hanyak.
For me would be, what is the real challenge there?
The way of challenge there. So if you're reading out the goal, like when we finish the goal setting session, we repeat the goal back to the client, right? What is that? That's the question. What would you read out to the client? So I heard you saying today you would like to explore this. And what would that this be?
What is in the way?
What is in the way? Okay. Let's hear one more, coach. What is in the way as a goal, right?
I think for me, it would be, how can you create that accountability to lose the 5 kilos, if that's your goal?
Okay, accountability, yeah. Okay, so coaches, now let us approach it a little bit based on what we have heard. How to create accountability, lose the weight, achieving a certain goal, losing the weight, and we also have here important space why he would lose the weight. Okay, now when we talk about setting goals, we see certain areas that you mentioned that can be improved. Number one is, if your client says a problem and a process, right? Let's focus very carefully, coaches. I'm inviting you to elevate your skill level to the MCC level. And I promise it's not rocket science, right? Now, when a client is sharing with you a problem, which is the weight, the 5 kilo is the problem of the client, losing is the problem, losing is the process, right? Now, when we look at the world, we see good and bad, positive and negative. We think that's how our brain works. No, brain doesn't work in good and bad, negative and positive. Can you guess how our brain operates then? What does brain ultimately understand as good and bad, negative, positive?
Avoid the bad and achieve the good.
Yes, absolutely. To do that, our brain processes everything as pain and pleasure. Our brain doesn't understand negative, positive. Here's an example. People say, I smoke, I know I shouldn't do that. So they know it is negative, but they keep doing it, which means their brain doesn't understand that it as negative. What have they perceived it as? Pleasure. When they smoke, they gain pleasure. Brain processes it as pleasure, right? So our brain only understands pain and pleasure, not good and bad, right? Of course, we help our clients get better, to develop, but that's not our brain understand. So why am I talking about this here? Wellness industry has a big problem. Wellness industry is $1 billion business. Why? It's paradoxical. We show a healthy person working out, and we show fast food and say, don't eat fast food. You see the paradox? Our brain processes fast food as pleasure. Most of us process workout as pain. You see why wellness industry is a multi-billion dollar business. It's a paradoxical industry. We just keep advertising pleasure, which is unhealthy, and we keep saying go into the pain. So it doesn't work. It goes creating money and money and money. Interesting paradox. So I bring you back here now. The moment you include losing weight into the goal as the goal statement, the problem and the process both become part of the goal. A goal cannot be a process. Goal cannot be a problem. That's the number one thing that we need to remember. So when you work with a client, if the client is including the problem and the process into the goal, there is no goal. You are still stating the problem. Let's remember that. So in other words, when the client says, I want to lose 5 kilograms, we ask the client, when you lose the 5 kilograms, what does that mean to you? Client could say something like, I can fit into this beautiful dress. Perfect, positively reframed. Or the client would say, when I lose 5 kilos, I get to my ideal weight. Perfect. So you say as a coach, oh, so your goal is ideal weight. 5 kilo is your problem. Ah, I see that now. Ah, so when you say you want to get 5 kilos, the losing is your process. Okay, but do we include the losing into the goal? No. So it could be creating whatever that they want to do in order for them to get to that ideal weight or to be able to fit into that dress. So when you do that, you positively reframe the goal for the client. So from the very beginning of your coaching session, make sure that your goal has a positive outcome, problem, and the process is not part of the goal. So for an example, I want to have a discussion. I want to get clarity around clearing my messy schedule. Is it a good goal? It's not a goal. It's a problem statement. But do you know that many coaches go into coaching with problem statements? And there's really not enough. We know that some coaches are struggling to get business. Here's one of the reasons why. If you started a coaching session on a problem statement, you're not creating maximum value for the clients, which means the client does not recognize why he or she should pay the coach to continue those sessions. So when you begin your goal setting session, one little tip I would give you is no problem statement created as a goal. Instead, goal is positively reframed, no problem, no process is involved in the goal. So that's our number one learning. Anyone, any insights to share? Okay, great. So let's move to the next one now. Then we have another one. So this is WA, right? WA says, I have the A, B, and C options now. What would be next statement, you as a coach? What would be your next statement to WA As a coach, Wa says, I have the A, B, and C options now. What would you have said next as a coach?
I'm gonna go for it. Okay, so I would say, so now that you have A, B, and C, given everything that we have discussed, which one resonates the most with you?
Excellent, Coach B. There is no right or wrong answer here, coaches, right? All answers are correct. Yeah. What does resonate the most with you? Great, great question. It's a very open-ended question. Allows the client to decide next, so no leading whatsoever. Wonderful question. What else? What else would you ask? Yes, Coach, do go for it.
I will acknowledge she first that she has already come with many options in her mind, and I will ask about pros and cons of each option towards her goal. Maybe it's good and bad, but not related to her goal at all.
Okay, pros and cons. You will congratulate the client, will acknowledge the client's development, and then invite the client to think about pros and cons. Wonderful. Great approach, Coach Dew. What else, coaches? What else would you say?
I would just probably ask the coachee to, of all the three options, what option would you like to discuss first?
Which one? Okay, which one to discuss, Coach Papatsiri, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which one to discuss?
You can call me Pat. Yeah.
Pat, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, which one to discuss? Great. Shall we hear from one of you, one more of you?
May I try?
Absolutely.
Yes, after we gone through pro and cons and which the priority option that they like to discuss in the session, I will offer them to experience making decision for each goal and explore how emotion they got during they decided that goal.
Excellent. So help them to make a decision based on their desired outcome, right? Desired goal. Yeah. Wonderful, coaches. Now you all have shared great possibilities for us to continue to co-create with our clients, right? Now, when we look at all of these answers, let me bring to your attention something very interesting that happens to us without us realizing. Now, all these answers are great. These are good ways to continue the coaching session forward. Now, an MCC will not handle this situation like this, right? Let's look at what happens with an MCC when we look at higher level competency. Now, let's look at the answers you said. What resonates the most with you? Let's look at the pros and cons. Which one to discuss? Making the desired goal, make a decision for the desired goal. Do you notice, coaches, when 4 coaches spoke what is going to be their next question, there are 4 answers. That is interesting. It's not the same question that came out of all of you. Now that teaches us something. You know what it teaches us? Can you guess? Okay. We as coaches come into this space because we like problem solving, right? We all have the same profile. I don't know if you have done this. I work with a lot of coaches. I check our coaches' profiles. You will be surprised. We all have the same personality, very, very closely the same personality. In other words, we are problem solvers and we are good at taking actions. We are good at being our own rescuer. Right? Because of that reason, we prefer to provide a solution most of the time. Now, you would say when we do pros and cons, I'm not providing a solution. Yes, you are not providing a solution. When you say, I would like to ask you which one to discuss, you're not providing a solution. You haven't. True. But do you see this? This is the way that is most familiar to you to solve this problem. That's what's happening. When you say, I want to invite the client to discuss what is important for them to as an outcome for the goal, that is what you think how this problem can be solved. When you say, I want to ask pros and cons, that's how you think you will solve the problem, looking at pros and cons. When you say, help them to make a decision, that's what you will do. So in other words, you are imposing a process that is familiar to you in problem solving to the client, right? So this is what happens most of the time at ACC and PCC level, right? You are still leading the client. We think we are not, but you are still leading the client, right? Because the reason is, if one asks what does resonate the most with you, the answer is going to change now. And if you ask what is pros and cons, clearly, right? So that means whether we like it or not, we are leading the client, we are co-creating with the client, we are changing the client's direction. Now at MCC skills, MCC level, we be careful not to lead the client's direction or change the direction. So we take the least responsibility in doing what needs to be done, least responsibility. So may I ask you again then, what is a better question here? What is a better question? I have A, B, C
What are
as
the
options.
options?
Sorry?
What are the options?
What are the options? Okay, that means we are still thinking that there should be an option. Okay, so let me put it like this. When we ask what are the options, how do you resonate? Which one to discuss? We think, oh, there's something to discuss. There's something to resonate. There's something to pros and cons. We even remove that. What would that be?
For me, I think with what you said will be, okay, amazing. Now you have 3 options. What would you like to do next? What is the next step for you?
Even step. I will even remove the word step.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to do? Because they might not even want to do anything, right? They are not in the space at the moment. They don't have the clarity.
Okay, time to dance. Yes, yes. Someone, I invite all of you to come on, come on, come on. Yes, we got it, we got it, we got it. Yes, that's what we're talking about, right? We don't decide for them. We don't present what is familiar to us. Instead, we say, what? Okay, great. You came up with these 3 things. What next? What do you want to do next? Right? So you completely give the power to the client. Now, I will share with you a paradox as well. Now, new coaches often think, oh, I need to charge this. I'm charging this client for this. I need to create a lot of value, right? So we think, oh, I have to ask the right questions. I need to get the pros and cons. I need all that, right? The thing is, coaches, the moment you work really hard in the session, client doesn't see the value. If they worked really hard, if they crunch their brain a lot with questions like what's next, it's a difficult question. The more difficult it is, the more they crunch. You will do less, the client will do more. The more the client does at the end of the session, the more they feel the value in the session. So work. One of the lessons I learned from my mentor coach, Benita Stafford, about 17 years ago, she told me, never work harder than the client. I'm sharing that with you. Never work harder than the client. When you think pros and cons, you're already working. Let the client say, I want to resonate. I want to find the pros and cons. I want to make a decision. Let the client be their own way of the person who takes charge, right? So that's one thing. Never work harder than the client. Okay. The last scenario now. So let me introduce you to Nina. Nina says, people give me unsolicited advice. Yes, all the time. Parenting advice. what would be your next statement? Okay, over to you.
I will take my shot. It might be far from but what I felt that I would say is, how does that make you feel?
How does that make you feel? Great. Any other answers?
I would say, what would you like to do with all the unsolicited advice that you get? And that's as a mom as well, right? People advise me all the time.
And Bharati is also like right on the spot. She captured the previous idea. She put it in perfectly. There you are. That's a creator right there, Bharati. I'm dancing for you. Yay. So two great answers now. Perfect. Really good. Actually, MCCs would ask those questions, in fact. Yeah. Great, great. Any other thought? Okay, I'll share with you a coaching session that happened to me about 13, 15 years ago when I was working with Benita, my very first coach. I remember sharing something with her. And then at the end of the session, I shared this long thing with her. And then at the end, she asked me, is that all? I said, yeah, that's all. And she said, are you sure? I said, yeah. She said, while you were speaking, Fernando, your hand was going on like this. Your hand was going on like this. And then she asked me, what was your hand trying to say? Right? I was like, oh, really? Really? Was my hand going on like this? I looked at my hand. I was like, yeah, maybe it's trying to say and unloaded another big bag, just like that, right? So I invite you to pay attention to your client's body language, tonalities. This is something, this is a competency. But I invite you to just go beyond just asking how you're feeling. I invite you to go beyond than, I hear your voice change. What does that mean? I hear your energy change. I invite you to go beyond than that. Like in this sharing, if you noticed, the client was, people give unsolicited advice. Yes, all the time, parenting advice. Now, Paula caught this and Bharti thought asking a wider question. Paula decided to just investigate the emotion. Both are correct, right? Absolutely correct. Great approaches. Now, if I was in the space, I probably would ask a little bit differently. I would say, while you were sharing that, there was this sigh happening in you. You went, what is that sigh trying to communicate to us now? Right? This is called somatic awareness. We look at the client's body awareness, what is going on with the client's physiology. Coaches, truly speaking, if you look at the evolutionary process, we are made for three things: to eat, to communicate, to procreate, to have sex. These are the three main things that we do all the time. In order for us to do that, our body is a magnified communication tool. We don't realize that. Our body communicates, or even when you're sleeping, you're communicating. We don't know that. So I invite you to look at, you are given a huge opportunity. If you can see your client working in front of you, pay attention to even their hair change. Once I remember a CEO, one of my clients, was about to sign a very big deal and he wanted 2 coaches in the room before he signed it. So we were having this long conversation and he decided to sign the paper. He took the pen, he took the letter, and he was about to sign. With the pen he took in his hand, he did this before he signed. I said, hold on. What is that about? Conversation went for 1.5 hours and he decided not to sign the paper. And absolutely valuable, powerful for him. A year later, he said he was so happy that he made that decision. In fact, he did remember that fact that we asked about this question. And until today, I work with his entire company because he saw the power of that just one question. So coaches, when you see the energy, the body language changes, ask what is that trying to communicate to you or to us. There's so much value because our body is communicating. When they communicate, they don't even know that there are so many layers that can be communicated if we paid attention to what is happening in our physiology. Even the slightest. Don't worry so much about how the client achieves the goal. Who cares? At MCC level, we don't care if the client achieves the goal or not. We care about who is the client, what is his process, what is he doing, how is he developing, why is he saying this? Oh my God, is this person not so amazing in this process? That is our focus when we work with a client at MCC level. So do not worry about these nitty-gritty little things when the educators say, oh, I'm bothered by that, bothered by that. Don't worry about that. Instead, ask them, what does that mean to you? What does that try to communicate to you? Who are you in this picture? What are you doing here? Now that helps them to elevate themselves to the next level, right? So here are some tips that I would like to share with you. And I would like to ask you the question. And then, of course, the questions will be passed on to you. Do you agree with me if I said that MCC skills are not rocket science? And having said that, I would like to open the questions about coaching competency and ethical guidelines, as long as Coach B says we have time. Do you agree with me? MCC skills are not really rocket science?
They are not, but they are a lot about presence and connection. And I think those are actually very hard. That's why the clients come to us, because they don't have presence most of the time and connection. But I think you are not a problem fixer. You are helping the client to understand themselves, and then they will, if they want to, they have the tools that if they want to succeed at something, but at least they understand what is their thoughts, what is happening. And I think when you reach that level, then you become unstoppable, because it's a different level of just awareness. It's really understanding what triggers you. Understand that if something goes on your body, you should be, oh, something is happening. And this is a different level from, you know, a ACC or PCC. We can bring sometimes, but MCC is really just be fully present, notice, and just be at the end. You are not there to think about questions or anything. You can be just in silence. And I think it will be powerful for some clients just to be there holding the space and not doing anything else.
Yes, Paula, spot on, spot on. I see that our coach is joining us with the little dance, celebration dance. So let's celebrate every little simple win that we have. Great. So I would, Paula, spot on of what you shared. I would say, to summarize that, think of doing less in a coaching session, instead more of being in the coaching session. Okay, over to all of you. Questions on coaching competencies and ethical guidelines, we are happy to answer. We also have Dr. Dana and experienced coaches. So we are happy to answer any of your questions.
Are there any questions on the ICF Code of Ethics or on the core competencies? Anything that you would like any of us to just recap on?
Or maybe any concerns that you would like to ask and share?
challenges, concerns?
While waiting for this, may I share and support the idea of Coach Paula? Yesterday, I got some session with my client, and the powerful is coming when just we give the space to the coachee, not too much questions, but they got the aha moment and get something inside them. Really appreciate, and I noticed that sometimes we as a coach, we try to find the wonderful, amazing questions, but the magic will be happen when we pause and when we give the space for the client to reflect, to talk much, and they get, oh, that's it.
Thank you, Coach Hongyo. Sorry, Coach Fernando.
Coach Bharti, if you don't mind, we are running out of time. I would like to add 3 pointers as we leave this conversation, which is inspired by Coach Hongyok. If someone asks me, what are the 3 rules you go by as an MCC, these are the 3 things that I would like to share with you. Number 1 is what Coach Hongyok said. It is all 3 of them are MCC skills, by the way, MCC markers. Number 1 is believe that value in coaching is inherent. Believe that value in coaching is inherent. You don't have to work harder, or don't ever work harder than the client. That's number 1. And number 2, become comfortable being able to operate in a space of unknown. We don't need to know our client. We don't need to know the client's world. We don't need to know what solution client will create. That's number 1. And the last one is the one that is most difficult one, and the one of the easiest ones for me. Learn to be vulnerable. Learn to be vulnerable. Changes the game. Okay, that's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Fernando. Are there any questions? I'd like to just open this space up for a few minutes. If you have any questions on any of the processes, anything that was discussed during the meeting, or anything else related to this project.
Sorry, can I ask this question? Is maybe irrelevant. Coach Fernando, I didn't get it. I didn't catch it when you reframe the goal of the guy who want to lose 5 kilograms. How did you reframe it? Can you repeat, please?
Yes, sure. So we would say at the end of this, if it's going to form as a proper goal, it could sound like something like this. So at the end of this session, you would like to create 3 action steps to become healthy, to reach an ideal weight of a certain number, and to be able to fit into this dress or this trouser or something like that. So there's no process as such that has to work with the problem. It's development positively reframed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Annie. And Coach Fernando, thank you for your wonderful session. As Coach Bharti has said, that if we all have any concerns or queries, we all can do that. And our Coach Hongyuk is going to be responsible for the answers of that. So don't worry about it. And now passing the session to Coach Hongyuk.
So can I just briefly add that if there are no questions and that we are, everyone's in, understands how the project is going to run, we are done for the day. The last thing that I would request you for today is we've put a satisfaction form into the chat box. If you could just take a few minutes to just evaluate the orientation, and please be open and honest, because we want to improve as we do more of these events. So please be honest with all your feedback, and hopefully we can all learn and grow. So no questions, are we all good? Okay, so massive thank you to everyone for being here today. On behalf of the social impact team of the ICF Bangkok Charter Chapter, I'd just like to say thank you very much. With very, very deep gratitude, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.